Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Paper Rose Studio's Poppy Garden collection. I'll be using both of the 6x6 papers, the original Poppy Garden and Poppy Garden Basics. These are both available in 12x12. I'll also be using some of the coordinating embossed die cuts, Poppy Garden Basics, and Poppy Garden tags and tickets. And for one set of cards, I will be using backgrounds from the Poppy Garden Quick Cards collection. And if you're interested in any of the products I use in this video, I do have links in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I will be using some card sketches for inspiration. The first sketch is from Cards TV. It's number 44. And I do have all the sketches, including measurements, on my coordinating blog post, and that link is in the description box below. For the background of my card, using the red gingham paper, for that strip that goes across the center, selected the green watercolor looking design. I'll put adhesive on the back, layer this piece on some red cardstock, and I believe this is the classic red color from Basil. For my cardstock layers, I generally add an additional 1/8 of an inch. So this red cardstock layer is 3 5/8 of an inch by 4 7/8 of an inch. I'll put ATG tape on the back and add this panel on some craft cardstock, and that piece is 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. Now I'll add the featured pattern paper, has some lovely baskets with red poppies, and also a little vase with a mouse and some poppies. Super cute. I layered that piece on the same red cardstock, and I'll add it in the center of the gingham panel. Now I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. For an image, I'm adding this sweet little mouse embossed die cut piece. To help it stand out against the pattern paper background, I'll first adhere it on a white circle die cut. Now this circle is way larger than what's indicated on the card sketch. I really use them more for inspiration and don't necessarily follow them exactly. For a sentiment, I'm adding the word hello, and this is from Paper Rose's black and white card making sentiment sheets. I love using Paper Rose's sentiment sheets. They include a ton of sentiments, and this set has lots of general sentiments that you can use throughout the year. This set is also available in gold and silver foiling. I've cut a bunch of them and I have them stored in the large craft stack tray from Spellbinders. That way when I need a sentiment, it's all ready to go. I'm adding the sentiment on the right side of the mouse. Since there's all those other cardstock layers, I'll first add a scrap piece of white cardstock. This is the same cardstock I use for the circle. I'll put that in about the middle of the sentiment. In the very right side where it goes off of that smaller pattern paper panel, I'm adding a couple of small foam squares from scrapbook.com. These are a 1 millimeter thickness. I did need to cut one square in half so I could fit 2 of them on the very right side. Then I'll put barely art glue on the back of the rest of the sentiment. And before I adhered it down, realized I should probably put one more foam square since there is a larger area where it goes off of that pattern paper panel. Now I'll adhere it down, making sure it's nice and straight before the glue completely dries. For embellishments, I'm using some Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini circle style in silver. I'll put 3 in the upper right-hand corner and 2 in the lower left-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did end up making 6 using this design. 3 cards feature the same pattern paper for the background. I used different embossed die cut pieces and sentiments. One card I use a green gingham, and 2 cards I use black gingham with butterfly pattern paper. This paper collection is so pretty. I love the vibrant red throughout it. Now moving on to card design number 2. The card sketch is from Cards TV. This is number 62. For this card, I'll also be using the craft cardstock for the background. And I selected 3 different pattern papers. For the narrow strip, using the beautiful poppy paper, and I'm layering it on black cardstock. For the square, I'm using the green gingham, layering it on green cardstock. And for the narrow strip on the background, it has sort of a vintage look to it with a bunch of different print. I'll adhere that on the left side of the craft paper. For a little bit of separation and shine, I'll put a Love from Lizzie peel off on the right and left side of this strip. I'm using the Racing Green mirror color, and this is the pinstripe style. Selected the narrowest width. I'll first add 1 strip on the left side, and since I will be covering up the center of that right side, I'm able to use some of the small scrap pieces. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some black cardstock. The craft cardstock piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and the black cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch. I'll put more adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. With the center of the poppies, black cardstock works really well with this collection. I'm also using the red, a dark green, and a dark brown. Next, I'll add the green gingham square. Put that in the center of the card, a little more on the right side. Before adding the strip with the poppies, at the very top and bottom, I'll put some thin foam dimension. I'm using the 1/4 inch black foam in the 1 millimeter thickness, and this is from scrapbook.com. I'm only adding the foam in the area where it goes off of the green gingham square. To keep it at the same level in the very center, I'll also add a scrap piece of a heavyweight black cardstock. I'll remove the release paper from the foam, put glue in the center, and adhere this piece on the left side of the green gingham square. Instead of adding a sentiment on this card, I'm putting one of the embossed die cut ticket pieces, has Cinema Admit 1. On the right side where it goes off of the poppy strip, I'll add 2 pieces of the heavyweight black cardstock. Just glue those down using Barely Art glue. Want to make sure to cut those small enough so that black cardstock doesn't peek out from behind the die cut piece. Then I'll add more glue and adhere it on the right side of the card, and this is in place of the sentiment as indicated on the card sketch. I'm also adding one of the image embossed die cuts, lovely butterfly, and I did pop up the butterfly using some thin foam squares. I'll put the sentiment right above the ticket on the right side. And currently the edge of one of the butterfly wings is going off the edge of the card. I didn't notice it at this point, but luckily I was able to lift it up and reposition it, and you'll see that in the photo. For embellishments, I'm using the mini circle peel-offs in Racing Green Mirror. Put 3 in the upper right-hand corner and 2 in the lower left-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did make 6 using this design. The first 3 feature the same pattern paper, and the other 3 cards feature different pattern paper. I have the red watercolor for that long strip, the black gingham for the square, and a bug design for the narrow rectangle piece. Now moving on to card design number 3. The card sketch is from OWH. This is number 37. This card will feature one of the image cut aparts from the 6x6 paper pad. If you purchase the 12x12 paper, this will be a larger image. On the 6x6, it's 2 inches by 3 inches. I'll layer it on some dark brown cardstock. For this card, I'm using 3 different pattern papers plus the image cut apart. I love how you can mix and match the different designs together. For the background of my card, I'm using the blue watercolor design. This piece is 4 inches by 5¼ inches. For the long strip on the left side, selected the dark brown wood grain, and I'll layer it on some dark brown cardstock. I'll adhere that piece first on the left side. Then I'll layer the background on dark brown cardstock, and that layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch, so 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. I love adding a touch of wood grain pattern paper, and many of Paper Rose's collections include different shades of wood grains. This one has a light gray and also the dark brown. Put more ATG tape on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next, I'll add the green gingham piece at the bottom of the card. Before adhering it down, I'll put that scrap piece of cardstock on the right side, just in the area where it goes off of the wood grain piece. Want to make sure it's not too long. Then I'll put adhesive on the back, adhere it in place. And before adding the beautiful image cut apart, I'll put those different layers behind it. On the very left side, I'm putting a scrap piece of the black cardstock. And on the right side, in the area where it's more on the blue watercolor, I'm putting some thin foam dimension, grabbed more of the black. This is the 1 millimeter thickness. I'll add 3 strips. One strip I cut just a little bit too long. It was going off the edge, so I did lift up that end and trim it off with a pair of scissors. Now I'll remove the release paper. Then I'll put ATG tape on the area with cardstock and adhere it on the front of the card. Now on the card sketch, it does have that image as 2½ inches by 3 1/4 of an inch. Mine's a bit smaller, 2 by 3 inches plus the cardstock layer. I am adding an extra element on this card, putting a narrow strip of green cardstock. This piece is 3 7/8 of an inch by about 3/4 of an inch. And this is where I'll be adding a sentiment. And I'm using some new stamp and die sets from Paper Rose. These 2 sets coordinate together. It's Stacked Sentiments number 2. I love the variety of sentiments that are included. The other sets are Stacked Sentiments number 1. And this die set includes a die so you can cut out 5 sentiments at once. And there's also a new die if you prefer banners. It's the Sentiment Banner Strips. And I'll show you how this works. For the larger sentiments, those are individual, so just those single words. But the smaller sentiments, there are 5 sentiments grouped together on one stamp. So you can stamp them all at once and cut them out all at once. It's a huge time saver. I'm stamping the individual word hello in cursive, and I selected the group of sentiments that has a note to say, Valentine's Day, birthday wishes, just a note to say, and I'm thinking of you. I have a piece of white cardstock and I am using a mini Misty. Want to make sure to get a good solid impression. Since I have dark brown cardstock for the layers on this card, I'm using a dark brown ink. This is Scrapbook.com's dark chocolate ink color. I do end up inking up the stamps at least 3 times to get that good solid impression. And what I love about this style of stamps, since there are 5 sentiments and you'll only do 1 pass through your die cut machine, you could stamp out a ton of sentiments, cut them out, and then you're all ready to go when you need a sentiment. And I like that there's the individual die for the words. So once I'm happy with how the sentiments look, I'll grab the coordinating die for the word hello, and I'll hold that in place using Scrapbook.com's mint tape. For the 5 sentiments, I'll be cutting these out with one shot using the Sentiment Banner Strips die. And the banners are all different lengths. So you can line it up, decide how much white space you want on the right and left side of the sentiment. Now the other banners that cut out where I don't have a sentiment, I'll hang on to those. I could use them as different elements on the card, or I could stamp a sentiment on them later. Another option is to line up another grouping of the 5 sentiments. That way they'll all cut out at once. But for now, I'm tossing them in a stack and sort tray from scrapbook.com. For this card, I selected the hello and also just a note to say. I'll be adding it on the green cardstock strip. I'll start by adding the sentiment banner piece. I put some clear double-sided adhesive tape on the back, remove the release paper, and I'll adhere that piece on the left side. Then I'll add hello on the right side, and I am covering up the right fishtail on the sentiment banner. I use glue to adhere the word hello. For embellishments, I'll use more Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the brown color in the mini circle style. I'll put 3 in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and this time I made 3 using this design. I used 3 different image cut-aparts. All of them are so beautiful, and I love how that red color really pops. Now moving on to card design number 4, no card sketch this time. I selected this lovely pattern paper that has script, sort of a newspaper look with poppies all at the bottom. I cut it to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And toward the top of the card, I'm adding a strip of wood grain pattern paper. This piece is 4 inches by 1 1/4 inch. And I put it about 3/8 of an inch down from the bottom of the pattern paper edge. For a little bit of shine, I'll add a Love from Lizzie peel-off along the edge of the wood grain. This is the pinstripe style in clear with gold overlay, so it's super shiny. I will be covering up the right side with an image, so I was able to use some of the small scrap pieces. I'm using the medium width. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some dark brown cardstock, and that piece is an additional 1/8 of an inch. I'll put more adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Many of Paper Rose's collections include a full sheet design. You can trim them down, add a sentiment, maybe some bling, and your card is finished. They never disappoint with their beautiful collections. On this card, I will be adding one of the 2 by 2 inch cut apart images. I'll first layer it on the same dark brown cardstock, and I'll be adhering it in the upper right hand corner. For a sentiment, I'm using some of the leftover pieces, plus I stamped more hellos and cut them out. So for this card, it's a note to say hello. I am covering up that right fishtail end again, but this time I'm tucking it underneath a cut apart image. I use clear double-sided adhesive tape behind the sentiment banner, and I'll put glue behind the image cut apart. I'll adhere the sentiment banner down first, put glue behind the word hello, and adhere it in place. For a final finishing touch, using more peel-offs, this is the mini circle style in brown. Adding 3 of the smallest size circles underneath the cut apart image on the right side. I'm trying to make sure I get them evenly spaced and lined up nicely. So there is my finished card, and I did make 3 using this design. Paper Rose's 6x6 paper collections include 3 of each design. They are double-sided, but it makes it super easy to make multiples of the same card. For card design number 5, the sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 685. I had to feature at least one card design with a beautiful poppy pattern paper. using it for the background. This piece is 5 1/4 of an inch by 4 inches. For the narrow strip on the left side, using the green gingham paper. And for the image panel, I'm using the green watercolor design. I'll layer everything on some dark green cardstock. And this green cardstock is from Basil. It's the avocado color. The cardstock layers for the two smaller pieces, I added 1/8 of an inch. But for the very background, this green piece is A2 size. So I have a wider green border around the poppy pattern paper. I put ATG tape on the back, added my card front onto a card base. Now I'll add the green gingham strip on the left side of the card. And before adhering the green watercolor panel, I'll put that scrap piece of cardstock on the back side, just in the area where it goes off of the green gingham piece. So I do need a fairly large piece. I'll add more adhesive, adhere this piece in place. And this is where I'll be adding one of the embossed die cut pieces. Well, actually, I'll be adding two. I selected this sweet little puppy in a basket image surrounded by red poppies. Put glue on the back, adhere the image in the center of the green panel. And I decided to add one small red butterfly above the puppy in the basket on the right side. For a sentiment, I'm adding Thinking of You, and instead of using the sentiment banner die set, I use the other dies that cut the straight edge on the right and left side. And I also stamped it with black ink. I'll layer it on the same dark green cardstock, adhere it in the upper right-hand corner. And for a final finishing touch, I'll put two mini circle peel-offs on the right side of the image. This is the racing green mirror color using the medium size circles. So there is my finished card, and this time I made two using this design. The other card features a sweet little fox looking up at some red poppies, and I did add another red butterfly, this time putting it on the left side. For my final card design, number 6, this sketch is from MFT. This is number 6. The background for this set of cards is from the Quick Cards collection. I really wanted more of the blue watercolor, and I was completely out from the 6x6 paper pad, so I dug into the Quick Cards collection. That piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and for the little rectangle diagonal piece, using some of the dark brown wood grain, I'll first layer it on some dark brown cardstock. Now I'll layer the background on more dark brown cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I always enjoy using this sketch. It has the circle element to add the image, and then the banner piece for the sentiment. Plus you can add 2 different pattern papers for the background. For the image, I'll be using one of the embossed die cut pieces. Beautiful river scene with mountains and poppies. I did put foam dimension on the back using more of the 1mm foam in black from scrapbook.com. I'll be adding it on a stitch circle die cut, and I use vellum for the circle. I'll first attach the embossed die cut on the vellum. Then I'll flip over the circle, put glue on the back only behind the die cut area. That way the glue doesn't show through on the vellum. Then I'll adhere it on the wood grain diagonal piece. And I'm pushing it up a bit before that glue dries, making sure to leave enough space underneath for the sentiment. For a sentiment, I'm thinking of you. I donate the majority of my cards, so I try to use a lot of general sentiments. For the longer banner piece, using more of the dark brown cardstock, I'll cut a fishtail on the right side, and before adhering it down, I'll put a scrap piece of cardstock and also pattern paper on the very left side. Then I'll put glue on the back, adhere it underneath the embossed die cut and slightly on top of the vellum circle. I'm holding that brown banner piece for a little bit longer, making sure that glue adheres before adding the sentiment banner piece on the left side. The glue on the back adhere the sentiment in place. For embellishments, I'll use more Love from Lizzie peel-offs, the mini circle style in silver. Adding one large circle in the upper right-hand corner, a medium and small underneath the sentiment on the left side. And for that area on the right side of the sentiment, I'll add 3 more small circles. It just fills in that extra space on the side of the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I made 4 using this design. The embossed die cut packs include so many gorgeous images, and I fell in love with the scenery pieces. If you've never tried Paper Rose's embossed die cut packs before, I highly recommend them. I absolutely love the glossy embossed detail. Now here's another look at the 24 cards I made using Paper Rose Studios' Poppy Garden collection. This is a gorgeous collection. I love the vibrant colors. I used the 2 6x6 paper pads with a little bit of the Quick Cards collection, plus 3 of the coordinating embossed die cut packs. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Paper Rose is located in Australia, and they do ship their products internationally, but you can also purchase most of Paper Rose products here in the US, and I have links for both locations listed below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.